Yeah, dear students, welcome to our online classes. I am Ravi Kumar KR, lecturer in Computer Science, gsipucmysuru College, Mysuru. Students, in our previous session, we were discussing about selection construct. Today, we will start our session with one more selection construct, that is if else if. If, else, if construct. Here, a programmer decides to execute statements from multiple statements based on condition. This construct is called a multiple way branching statement. And here this statement we are using where there are more than one condition to be checked or tested. Students, if else if construct, one of the selection construct in programming concept. Here the programmer decide to execute statements from multiple statements. There are more than one statements to be executed. He will decide, programmer decide based on the conditions. So here it is also called as multiple way branching. If you observe that if construct is single way branching, and if you say if else construct, that is two way branching. But here if else if is multiple way branching if there are more than one condition to be tested. In if construct we are checking only for one condition, it works only for true part of it. And if you look into that if else construct, there we are checking only one condition, and here we are considering both true and false part of it. But here in this example, if there are more than one condition to be tested or checked, then we have to make use of if else if construct. The syntax of this construct is if test condition 1 statement 1, close this if here. Now it is else if test condition 2 statement 2 closing this, else if test condition 3 statement 3, and here is else default statement closing this. Students, this is the syntax of if else if construct. If else if construct. Here if you look at the syntax here, this is if test condition 1 statement 1, this is one set of statement. Then else if test condition 2, this is statement 2, another set of statement. And here test condition 3 statement 3, this is another set of conditions. And last one is default statement. In this there are 1, 2, 3 and this is fourth condition, and in this example there are 4 conditions to be tested or checked. For that we are using the syntax if test condition. If this is first condition, again if the condition there are true or false. So here if it is true, if test condition is true, it executes the statements and comes out of if else if construct. So if this condition fails, if test 1 condition fails, then it skips to second condition, that is test condition 2. Again it check for the condition either true or false. If it is true, it executes the statement 2 and again comes out of if else if construct. If here also if even test condition 2 fails, it goes to or it executes this test condition 3. It check for the condition. If it is true, it execute this, otherwise it execute default statement. In this example there are 1, 2, 3 and this also a condition. There are 4 conditions will be tested here and here. If test condition is 1, it execute this, comes out of it. Similarly, suppose if test condition 1 fails, it check for condition 2. Again if it fails, it check for condition 3. Again also it falls, it goes to statement number, that is default statement, that is the last statement. So what is the meaning of default statement? If none of the conditions are true, obviously this will be true. I repeat once again, if in this example there are 4 conditions to be tested or checked here, if all 3 conditions are failed, obviously the 4th condition or 4th statement will be true, it has to be executed, that is default statement. When it is going to execute default statement, if none of these conditions mentioned in the programs are true, then it execute default statement. So this is the syntax of if else if construct. Now let me draw flowchart for the same. This is entry of if else if construct. It enters from this point, it checks for first condition. If first condition is true, it execute statement 1. This is statement 1, then comes out of the if else if construct. Similarly, if this condition fails, it has to check for second condition. This is condition 2. Again it has 2, 1 is true, 1 is false. If it is second condition is true, it executes statement 2 and comes out of if else if. If condition fails, again it has to check for one more condition, that is condition 3. Again here it has true or false. False, it is true. If it is true, it execute statement 3 and comes out of it. If condition fails, it executes statement 4. Executes statement 4 and comes out of if else if. Now I am going to connect this here. Students, this is Here is a flow chart for if-else-if construct. Here, as I told you, there are 1, 2, 3 and 4 conditions will be tested here. So here, if test condition 1, if is that is a test condition 1, you check for the test condition 1, there are two possible answers, yes or no, or true or false. If condition 1 is true, it executes statement and comes out of if-else-if construct. If test condition fails here, it has to check for condition 2, again true or false state here. If it is true, it executes statement 2, comes out of if-else-if construct. If in the example, if test condition 2 fails, it has to check for one more condition, that is condition number 3. Again there are two possible answers, true or false. If it is true, it executes statement number 3 and comes out of if-else-if. If condition 3 it also fails, then it has to execute statement 4. This is default statement. This is default statement. So this is a flowchart to represent if-else-if program construct. Now let us write one simple example for the same. Let us write program construct for the following example. This is to find grade of a student, based on the following condition. The condition is if it is above 85%, we have to give him as distinction, greater than 60, first class, greater than 50, second class, greater than 35, pass class, otherwise fail. Students, look at the example here. This is an example to find grade of a student. Generally, we decide the grade of a student by finding average marks of students he obtained. So, based on this is the sum. This is an example here. If a student gets above 85%, we have to give him a distinction. Base above 60 is a first class, above 50 is a second class, or between 50 to 60 is a second class, and above 35 is pass, and below 35 is fail. So here, if you look at this example here, there are more than one condition. For example, in this example, this is the one condition for distinction, another condition for first class, another condition for second class, another condition for pass class, and also this also a condition for fail class. So here, if you look into that, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 conditions to be tested. So for this, we are making use of if-else-if construct. Now let us write construct for the same. First, we start with first condition. If, what is the first condition here? Above 85. For example, if I say average is above 85%, so we have to print distinction. Had to print as distinction. Closing this. Again, we have to check for second condition. If, else, if. This is second condition. Second condition is average marks above 60. This is the second condition. If it is true, we have to print first class. And close this bracket. Next, this is second condition. Next condition is for 50. After if else if test condition is 3, that is average greater than 50, we have to print second class, close this. Then after this, we have left with two more conditions. After if else if, one more condition, else if. The condition is after 50, it is we have to check for 35. If average is greater than 35, we have to print pass. And last condition, that's a default condition or default statement. If we have to write here else print fail and closing this. So this is the end of if else if construct. Please understand here, if one condition, else if is one condition, else if condition, else if, and default statement, we are not making use of one more condition here. It is not else if, it should be else, only else, print fail. So last statement will be the default statement. When it is going to execute, if none of the conditions are true, it execute default statement. If else if start with if statement and ends with else statement. So here in between we have else if, last one is else. Under else we are writing the default statement to be executed. Now let me explain the same thing here. If you look at the condition here, so first condition is 85, we are checking for the condition if average 85. If it is true, in the students you will be knowing by this time, average the variable, we have to enter or we have to input value to the variable average. If you enter the average above 85, for example 90, then it's going to print. If it is 90 means 90 greater than 85, condition is true, it executes this or it print distinction and comes out of if else if construct. Please you have to note at this point, if it is true, it executes this, comes out of it. Suppose if this condition fails, it will execute second condition, check for the condition, if it is true, it prints this, comes out of it. Here in this example, if you enter the average marks as 70, it is above 70, it cannot be above 85, so it executes this condition and print first class, comes out of it. Suppose if you enter average marks as 55, 55 is greater than 50, it executes the statement, comes out of if else if. Similarly, if the average marks what you have entered is 40, 40 is greater than 35, true, it executes this, comes out of if else if. Suppose if you enter average marks as 30, it check for the first condition, 30 it is fails, it check for second condition, fails, third condition fails, even fourth also fails, or it is false because 30 is not greater than 35. It execute default statement, it print result or grade as failed. So this is an example for if else if construct. Next construct is nested if. Nested if. What is nested if? It is also possible, it is possible to have if statement within if statement. It is possible to have one if statement within another if statement. One if statement inside or within another if statement is called as nested if statement. The syntax: if test condition is 1, if it is true, we have one more if, test condition 2, statement 1, else statement 2, closing this, else in this we have if test condition 3 statement 3 else statement 4, and here closing this. Students, observe the syntax here. If condition, this is if, this if, and this else. These two are if else condition. Within if else we have one more if else. This if else is present inside this if. Similarly, this another if else statement is within this else statement. Now please observe the diagram here or syntax here. If else is one statement, that is if else construct. Under if else construct, within this if, this is if statement, within this we have one more if else statement, and this is nested. This is nested within this if part of the if else statement. And in this example, from here to here is else part. It is else statement. Inside this you can have one more if else. So this if else statement is present or inside this else part. So this is called nested if construct. According to the definition, it is possible to have one if else statement within one more if statement. In this example here, one statement, if else statement within this else part. So this is nested if statement. Now let us see the flow chart of the same. This is test condition 1, it is true, and this is false. If it is true, it has to execute. This is condition 2, again it is true or false. If condition 2, it execute statement, then comes out of if. Here, if test condition is fails, it execute statement 2, comes out of else part. And similarly, this is under this, if test condition 1 is fails, condition 3, again it has false as well as true. If test condition is true, it execute statement 3 and comes out of this. Similarly, if test condition 3 fails, it execute statement 4 and comes out of this. Students, see, this is entry point of nested if. This is exit or comes out of if else construct. In this example, if you look at the example here, you check for the condition. Under if condition, we have under true and false. Under if statement, we have one more condition, that is if else. This is true and this is false. If else. Similarly, under this part, under this side, if first condition fails, this is else part. Under else part, you will have one more condition. This is nothing but if else condition. It is true, it does it. Else, come to this statement 4. So this is one if condition. Another if condition is within this if condition. This is nested if construct. Now let us write one example for the same. Let us write an example to find greatest of 3 number. Greatest of given 3 numbers. Student, you remember this? Already we had written algorithm for the same, but we have used some other logic. Here we do the same thing with nested if programming construct. Let us take 3 numbers as A, B, C. Now if A greater than B, and here if A is greater than C. Now I am comparing A is greater than B and A is greater than C. Then we have to say output A as a greater number. Then this is if condition. Else is A is greater than B, A is greater than C, means no means A is less than C. Then we have to say A is less than C, A is greater than B, C. Here output C. I am closing this. So this is if else. Now I am closing this if part. I will continue here with else. Under else statement, conditions if. This when we are going to enter this stage here, if A is greater than B. This is if statement. If condition fails, means A is greater than B. No, in that case it comes to this section or this else part. Here A is greater than B. No, no means B is greater. Now we have to consider another 2 numbers B and C. Here if B greater than C. A is greater than B. No, then B is greater than C. If B is greater than C, we have to output here output B, closing if, else output C, output C, closing this, I am closing this else. So observe the students here. This is if else statement. Under if else statement, under if part we have if else statement. This is nested if. Similarly, under else part we have, from here to here is else. Under this we have one more if else. See, this is else part, and here similarly this is if else under if. So this is if else is present inside if. This is nested, or this is present inside if statement. This is called as nested if construct. So here the program is nothing but greater of 3 numbers. Here I am comparing here, if A is greater than B. If A is greater than B, it is true, it comes to this part. Then you will check here, if A is greater than B, we are checking for A is greater than C. If A is greater than C, obviously A is greater. Suppose if A less the condition fails, A is greater than B. No, A is greater than B, but A is less than C. In that case, we have to print output C. This is the greatest number. When suppose if A is greater than B, condition fails. No means it comes here. Understood that B is greater than A here. If B is greater than A, check for B greater than C. If B is also greater than C, we have to print B as the output or greatest number, otherwise C as the output as the greatest number. So this is one of the logic to find greatest of the numbers by using nested if programming construct. Students, let us continue with one more construct in my next session. Thank you very much.